Clickjacking is a malicious technique of tricking a website user into clicking or entering keystrokes on something different from what the user perceives, causing a user to unknowingly take an action that is totally unintended. The typical parties involved are a malicious website, which is a perpetrator of the hack, and then a suspecting user, which is the end user victim fooled into clicking or entering keystrokes with a malicious site. And then a poorly defended website, which has vulnerability such that it can be hidden inside a malicious website, allowing the user to perform unknowingly actions against it. So let's do our demo. So on a typical workday, I like to have my browser open up various tabs that are among my favorite websites, one of which is the Entrepreneurs Organization website, eonetwork.org. I'm a member of that group and I like to stay logged on. This website has a convenience feature such that I could stay logged on pretty much indefinitely. So as I go through my day, I stumble across another website called impactsw.com, and I see that I've won a lifetime supply of toilet paper. And it's really too hard an offer to refuse, so I want to claim it. Boom, I claimed it. Nothing happens here. I don't really think about it. I just move on. And let's say later on in the day, I go back to my EO site. I refresh the screen, I log back on. And to my horror, I notice that my profile picture has disappeared. So something leads me to believe that there's something fishy about this website that I just visited. On the surface, nothing really looks odd, so let's dig a little deeper. I'm on Firefox and I'm opening up its menu and I'm choosing a tool called Web Developer. I'm choosing the Style Editor option. This actually allows me to see that the style sheets, what style sheets that this web page is actually using, and actually allows me to manipulate it. This tool is also available on Chrome as well as on Edge as well as many major browsers. So in this case here, I see that there is a frame that is hidden. It has opacity of 0, which means that it's invisible. So let's go ahead and review what's in there. So as you can see, what's actually hidden within this website is a hidden frame that is embedding the EO website profile page. And what's worse is that you can see that the visible page of this website is superimposing various elements on top of the EO webpage, profile webpage. Specifically, the click here to claim button is superimposed of the delete image button of the EO webpage. So if I click on this click here to claim, thinking that I'm claiming supply of toilet paper, it's actually deleting the picture from my EO webpage, all the while without me even knowing that I'm actually using and interacting with the EO webpage, because the URL here is saying that I'm on this impactsw.com webpage. Clickjacking anatomy. It usually works together with a phish, some alluring email or post enticing you to visit a malicious website. Once on the malicious website, there are attractive elements which entices you to click or type somewhere on the page. The malicious website is actually layered with different pages, with the real destination page hidden or obfuscated. Once you click or type, your input is received by the hidden page for some action that is totally different than what you intended. The typical exploits for these, for example, would be stealing social media likes, fraudulent transactions, sabotage, defacement of websites, and general damages. Some of the typical vulnerabilities that this technique would take advantage of would be a vulnerable website having a long session timeout, such that a user can stay logged on for a long time and across different tabs. For e-commerce sites, some shopping carts content that persists for a long time and also across different tabs and sessions being closing and reopening. Websites that have cookies that are shared between tabs, such that one update in one tab would update content in another. All these features are very convenient for the end user, and they're definitely worthwhile having, but they need to be implemented with defenses against clickjacking. For example, Amazon.com have all these convenient features, but it has its defenses. So what are the defenses? The key thing is to not to get framed, which means that you don't want to have your website be capable of being displayed within a frame. And the way to do that is actually very simple. There's no code change. These are just header change that you could set in your website servers. The most popular one is the X-frame options, which has the two parameters that says deny, which means that your website cannot be framed at all, or same origin, which means that your website can be framed only by the same domain that your website runs with. And then the content security policy header with a sub parameter of frame ancestors does exactly the same thing as the X-frame options. And this header is starting to replace this header as the standard. So none basically does the same thing as the denied, and self does the same thing as the same origin. And then lastly, same site cookies. These are having cookies set with the same site attribute, which would then prohibit frames from having access to those cookies. Now, in some cases, cookies contain session information. So if you set this, then that means that from within a frame, that frame cannot be automatically logged on or have access to whatever you have changed or set on other pages. Most established websites have implemented these defenses. So below here are examples of attempts to frame Amazon.com and LinkedIn.com, and this is the display resulting from those attempted frames. And you can see that in the case of Amazon.com is using the X-frame option, and in the case of LinkedIn is using the content security policy option, both of which works effectively against them being displayed from within a frame. Clickjacking, end user defenses. So as an end user, what can you do? Well, first thing is you don't want to get phished. You don't want to land on the malicious website in the first place. So if you see some email asking you to visit the site, you want to make sure that the email is authentic. You want to make sure that it's coming from someone you know and trust. And to do that, you don't just look at the name. You have to go to the header of the email to check to see whether that sender is actually who they are. You don't want to blindly click on links on there. Similarly, the links on the email could actually say something else as opposed to the actual website that it is going to cost you to visit. So you want to look at the code behind and make sure that you know that website you're visiting. And then once you see the name on the website, you also want to check the reputation of that website. You don't want to be visiting sites that you don't know about. Similarly, when you're looking at posts or blogs, they may also have links on there, and you don't want to just click on those links right away either. You want to also go through the same process to make sure you know the exact site you're visiting and checking the reputation of those sites. Use reputable browsers. The obvious ones would be Chrome, Edge, Safari, Firefox, Opera, and so on. But there are indeed a lot of browsers out there, and if you try to use them, some of them may not be actually honoring some of the directives that the website sends, such as the X-frame option, and therefore it will not follow the rule of blocking those websites from being displayed within a frame. And lastly, generally, don't stay logged onto your websites too long. Get in the habit of logging off, because you're vulnerable when you have already logged on to a site and you stay logged on, and then suddenly if you click on a malicious site with a hidden page, then that hidden page would also get automatically logged on. And so then that makes it really easy for the malicious site to have you interact with that hidden page unknowingly.